Hey everyone, this is Helena Hart. Welcome back to my Master Your Magnetism podcast. I'm talking with Matt Shaffer again today. He's an empowerment, connection, and relationship coach who's helped over 100,000 women in his coaching program and amazing courses to help them attract and create extraordinary relationships. Welcome, Matt. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Helena. It's so wonderful to be back. It's been a minute since we've done this. I'm super excited to dive in with you.
I know. I think it's been a couple years. I was thrilled to hear from you this week, and I can't wait for this topic. By the way, if you're listening to this on my podcast on Spotify or Apple or anywhere else, and you'd like to see a video of this episode, I'll include that in the show notes. And I'm also going to include a link to Matt's free Mastery of Connection course. Matt, do you want to talk a little bit about that before we get started? And of course, we'll talk more about that at the end.
Absolutely. So for everyone who's interested in having better relationships, not just with men, but with everyone in your life, I am doing a free beta launch of my signature course, Mastery of Connection. It's a $2,000 live course that I'm going to be giving to you for free in exchange for your testimonial if you have a great experience. That's really all I'm looking for is feedback. And it's going to be a 3-week live course starting October 28th, where we're going to help you transform all your relationships from the inside out by doing deep belief work, attachment style work, and personality type work. You're going to get over 50 hours of live coaching with me and my coaching team in live group coaching sessions. And you're going to get a video curriculum, over 15 video lessons. It's a crazy value, and it's going to be a transformational experience for everyone who joins. So if you're interested in coming along with this process, I guarantee you it's going to make a huge difference in your life and in your relationships. And Helena will include a link in the description of this video or in the podcast so you can take the leap and join us. And again, it's absolutely free, so you got nothing to lose.
Absolutely. So the value of the course is $2,000, but it's 100% free for women
Yes,
in my community. If they apply through
exactly.
the link below, that'll be the first link in the description or show notes. And I've been saying this for 5 years when we first started working together. I think it's been about 5 years. This is
Yep.
absolutely hands down the top free course I recommend to everyone. It doesn't come around very often. Like I said, I think
No.
it's been about 2 years at least since
Yep.
you've offered this.
It
And
has.
so I'm so excited. I've always said this is my favorite free course to send people to. I've never changed that at all over the years. And I really mean that because Matt really over delivers. He gives so much personal attention and coaching to all the amazing women in there. So I'm so excited to offer that. Please apply now while it's still being offered completely free. And that's just available for a limited time. So we'll talk a little more about that at the end. I'm really looking forward to diving into this topic. We're going to be sharing 4 secrets to bring a man closer than ever using your feminine energy, whether you're single or dating or in a relationship. This could really apply no matter where you are in your love life, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is the thing. Feminine energy and your embodiment, your unique embodiment of it is the ultimate key to attracting not just any relationship, but the right relationship for you, like an aligned relationship that's a reflection of how you actually want to be treated and what you actually desire, how you want to feel in relationship. But it all starts with you. That's like one of the core principles that I teach my clients.
I love it. It's so true. So you ready to dive into that first secret?
Let's go. Absolutely. So, I mean, the first secret and the thing that I really emphasize as the foundation of having potent, powerful, juicy relationships is embrace your uniqueness as a woman. And why I say that is because a lot of times the women that I work with, or just women in general, when they find a man, because we're talking about high value men here. This isn't about attracting, necessarily Joe at the smoke shop. This is about attracting a really good guy. When you attract a high value man into your life, you have a tendency to put him on a pedestal, right? You have a tendency to preoccupy yourself with what you think he wants, with what you think he desires. And by taking the focus outside of yourself and prioritizing what you think he wants over how you're being and how you're showing up, a lot of times women have a tendency to forget. They have a tendency to lose themselves in pleasing their partner. Has that been your experience, Helena, in working with women?
Absolutely. Yes. In fact, I'm about to post a podcast episode on how to stop performing and trying to prove yourself to earn love. And it's so true. As you were speaking, Matt, I thought about a conversation I had earlier this week with my husband where he told me that he fell in love with me for the strangest little anxious quirks that I have early on. It's things that I could never try to put out there to try to make him fall for me. It was just these sort of weird, quirky things that I would never in a million years think that that would make him fall in love. But those were the things he said. I saw you, I knew who you were in those moments, and I was hooked
Exactly.
basically. And it was so funny because I couldn't have prepared for that. I couldn't have tried to do something to make him fall
No.
for me. And so I totally agree with that. I think that's spot on.
I love that you shared that, because truly it is about the man feeling, because men are actually much more intuitive than a lot of women I think give them credit for. It's something that
Mhm.
I say again and again and again and again. We're much more nuanced in our experience of energy. And when we feel that a woman is basically pretzeling to us or just sort of bending her energy to agree with us on everything, we feel like we can't trust that. Just like I'm
Mhm.
sure women feel the same way when a guy is just collapsing into everything that they want. So truly owning your frame of your preferences, of your unique little quirks, and just being unapologetic about that is super attractive. And it gives us a sense that you're safe. And one of the core principles that you want to remember as far as masculine and feminine energy dynamics, which is one of my favorite things to talk about and favorite things to teach, is the masculine is looking for emotional safety from the feminine. So just how the feminine is seeking physical safety from the masculine, they want a protector. The masculine is looking for emotional safety. So the emotional safety starts with feeling like it's okay for me to be vulnerable and that you're a safe space for us emotionally. And if you're being yourself, if you're owning your quirks, your weirdness, your raunchiness, whatever, like the last girl that I dated, one of the things that drew me to her so much was how unapologetic she was about all of her weird little eccentricities. I could tell that she was comfortable in her own skin. And that made her irresistible. That made her magnetic to me. And it's just really important to check in with yourself. And a way to do this, by the way, this is something I give my clients, is if you're out with somebody and you're out with somebody new, especially, because that's when I think when we have the most tendency to be inauthentic, just
Yeah.
check in with yourself. And you can even set an alarm on your phone to do this. Check in with yourself and ask yourself, would my friends recognize who I'm being right now? Would my
That's
friends
good.
recognize me right now? Would my
Mhm.
mom, whoever knows you the best, and you never have to think about who you're being when you're around them, would that person recognize who I'm being and how I'm showing up right now? Right. And if the answer is no, if you're like laughing at crap that you wouldn't normally laugh at, if you're pretending that you're passionate about something that you're truly not, or you're shut down in a way that you wouldn't normally be, you have walls up or whatever. Say your life was a reality show and the people that love and know you the best were watching it. Would they be like, oh yeah, that's Helena, or that's Jennifer? Or would they be like, what character are you playing right now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like that's a way to kind of get outside of your head and look at yourself from a different perspective. Because a lot of times we get so preoccupied in trying to make a good impression with somebody that we become inauthentic. A man's going to be like, oh, I can't trust this. And he's going to pull away and it's going to lower your value in his eyes.
Yeah, and that can be hard, especially when you have strong feelings for someone. You want to do what you think he's going to find attractive or appealing, and that actually has the opposite effect of what you're hoping for, usually, or maybe all of the time, right? So if you have a difficult time with that, definitely make sure to sign up for Matt's free course,
Yeah.
Mastery of Connection, because I think some of the deep inner work tools that you have in that course can really help you get in touch with your authentic self and feel comfortable radiating that out. And once you try it and start to get incredible results, you'll just never know how you did anything else or lived another way. So I think that's phenomenal. Anything else you want to say about this first secret, or should we move on to the next one?
Yeah. Well, the last little visual I want to give you around this is the concept of a frame, where I want you to think of who you are. And this is going to lead into our next secret as well. Who you are, everything, your preferences, your passions, the things you like, the things you don't like. I want you to think of them as like a picture frame. You are within that frame. He also has a frame. And where we mess up is when we try to collapse our frame into the frame of the person that we're connecting with,
Mm,
because we're afraid that if we hold our frame, that other person is not going to see and appreciate us within our expression. But if you can hold your frame and own it in the way that you're showing up, that is something where a guy can be like, okay, she's comfortable and she appreciates who she is. Therefore, I can appreciate who she is. Men are going to pick up on how you feel about yourself and your understanding and acceptance of yourself or not. And no matter how they think of you initially, they're going to end up believing about you what you believe about you. and the
Yeah.
way you're expressing that. So I just want to give you all a permission slip to own your weird, own your quirks, all your little things about yourself, because that's what's going to set you apart from these plastic chicks that are out there just being way too polished or way too pretzel-y and alienating men because they're not someone who can be trusted.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. So, we ready for that second secret?
Yes. And this is kind of a specific expression, sort of underneath, like embracing your whole uniqueness, is to own your boundaries, right? And I think a lot of women have a misunderstanding around boundaries. They think of boundaries as these like bitchy punishments, like, don't do this, I'm not comfortable with that. That boundaries are purely like a punitive thing to sort of like correct a man's actions. Is that something you've experienced,
Yeah, a lot of
Helena?
women are afraid to set a boundary because they think it's going to turn a man off or push him away because that's the idea they have about what boundaries are.
Yeah, that boundaries are punitive, that boundaries are going to be repellent to men, or that boundaries are inherently masculine, right? That boundaries
Yes.
are somehow this like masculine thing that's going to push men away because you're being pushy. And the answer is actually exactly the opposite. Boundaries are the roadmap to guide a man towards your happiness. And men need and deeply desire structure. This is like a core thing that I think it's contrary to the way a lot of women think. Like a lot of women don't initially think of this. We love to know where we're going, why we're going there, and everything else. And so by you giving us boundaries, you're giving us a roadmap to make you happy. And if we're attracted to you, if we're activated by you, if you're someone that we are interested in getting to know and building a relationship with, we want to know how to make you happy. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And boundaries are not just telling somebody, no, don't do that, or stop doing this. Boundaries are the proactive expression of your needs, of your preferences. So boundaries can be, I love how I feel when you hold the door for me. I feel safe. I feel supported when you hold. They can be acknowledging, and this is something that I encourage women that I work with to do literally from day one, from moment one of connecting with somebody, is proactively expressing your preferences to the man. I love how you hugged me when we met. That really, made me feel safe with you. Or that was really sexy how you ordered for both of us after I told you what it is that I wanted. One of the greatest things you can do to turn a man on, to empower him, and to help him really want to lean in with you is to acknowledge him for his actions. And that is a form of boundary. It's a proactive boundary in that you're inviting him to do more of something that it is that you want. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's a boundary that's empowering to a guy, and it's helping him understand how you're wired, and the more you acknowledge him for the things he's doing right, the more of those things he's going to do. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's so true. I see that all the time. And of course, that doesn't mean that you can never set a boundary around
Of
something you don't
course.
want. It's all about the way that you do it, right?
Yeah. And so here's the thing, even when you're looking to correct a behavior, like maybe he's trying to escalate physical intimacy too fast, or he's being one sided in conversation or whatever, you can still do it a lot of times in a positive, proactive, constructive way. So,
Yeah.
one of the ways you could do that is if he's moving things too fast physically, you could be like, you know what? I'm loving the passion that I'm feeling from you. And also, it's really important to me and it really turns me on to take my time, to take things slow, and to enjoy the journey of getting to know you. So, are you cool with us cooling things off a little bit and really savoring this process of getting to know and experience each other? Instead of laying the smackdown on him, there are ways of inviting a man to correct his actions in a way that will not be experienced or processed as a rejection necessarily. And I'm not saying there's not a time to do those things. Obviously, there's times when you want to just be like, hey, that doesn't necessarily feel good to me, or I'd appreciate it if you would blah, blah, blah. But in most situations, there's a way to invite him to take a different action. And that
Yeah.
changes the energetics of the conversation in a way that are empowering to him and help continue to create a sense of safety with him rather than feeling punitive or whatever. Because if you get into a cycle and a loop of sort of like punitive, negative boundary setting without having expressed your needs beforehand, the guy a lot of time will get into a cycle of mama trauma. And mama
Mm.
trauma is this thing that all men have within them, or most men have within them to some degree, where mom would punish us for something and we didn't necessarily know what we had done wrong or why we had done it or whatever. And we'd be like, Mom, what did we do wrong? Whatever. Or why am I in trouble? Because I said so. A lot of times, mom was the one who was disciplining us for our shenanigans. And if you become that person who's constantly disciplining us for our shenanigans, those are the sort of things that can cause a man to shut down,
Mhm.
emotionally. So come to
Yeah.
him as his partner rather than his parent, and work with him collaboratively on making each other happy. And you're going to have a much better relationship, and men are going to
So
want to be
true.
with you at a deeper level.
So important. And again, if you have trouble with that, definitely sign up for Matt's free course where you can get personalized coaching around your unique situation or your unique tendencies, because that can be really difficult too. That's where getting some personalized support and coaching can be really, really helpful, especially while
Yeah.
it's still being offered completely free. So, again, that'll be the first link in the show notes. Are we ready for the next secret, Matt?
100%. And just to follow up with what you just said, I am going to be doing a lot of live coaching on what men want and how to connect with men in a deeper way. I call it manslating, different from mansplaining, manslating, where I'm translating men's needs and what they truly desire. That is a core thing that I teach, especially in the third week of the course, where I do daily live workshops that are like 2-3 hours long. I answer all your questions. You're going to get all the Matt you can handle throughout the course journey.
You are the king of over delivering. I always say that's why I love sending women your way from my community. So, yeah, what is that next secret? I'm excited to hear this one. I'm loving these first two.
All right. So this one is so important. It is be your own happy. Be your own happy. And what I mean by that is, do not make your happiness any guy's responsibility, anyone else's responsibility, because trust me, nothing is heavier to a high value man than feeling like your happiness has become solely his responsibility. Because if he is a guy who is high value, I guarantee you he's a guy who works hard. He is a guy who has a big vision for his life. He is a guy with heavy responsibilities in his life. You are his escape and his sanctuary. You are his freedom from the heaviness of everything else that he is experiencing in his life. And so if you can be that loving, playful interruption to him, that's going to really turn him on and make him want to be with you. If you do not own your own happiness, if you do not make your happiness your responsibility and you make it his job, you have become that to him. You have become a job. You don't want to be his job, right? You don't want to be like, okay, well, I got to do these things because this is what she needs to be happy and I have to make her happy. If I'm not doing this stuff for her, she's going to be mad at me. You know what I'm saying? So kind of the way that I'm talking about this is like, don't be a fixer upper. Do your work, be your own ally and your own coach and everything else, and keep your passions and your hobbies intact. Don't just drop everything for your relationship and be like, okay, cool, this is all that I need now. Does that make sense, Lena? Why
Oh,
that would be
yeah.
super important?
Yeah, I think it's also a good thing to look for in another person too. A lot of these go both ways. You wouldn't want
100%.
to look for a fixer upper or end up with a fixer upper kind of guy where he's looking to you as the only source of his happiness. Probably a lot of us have been in situations like that. So you can kind of understand how it feels, right?
1,000%. Yeah, it's not about like two people completing each other. It's two complete people inviting each other to grow together. And so if he experiences you as a complete person who's doing your work, who is responsible for their own happiness and their own well-being and their own emotional health, and they just want to be with you for the sake of being with you because they love being around you, then we can feel safe with that. Going back to the concept of safety, because men, we just want to feel safe and we want to feel like you want to be with us for who we are, not necessarily what we can do for you. Does this make sense?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
a lot of men
absolutely.
have this story that our primary value in relationship is simply what we can provide to someone rather than being loved and appreciated for who we are. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
I've been saying that for years. Men don't want to feel like you're just looking to them to fill a role, and any guy will do. They want to know that you're with them because of who they are. Like you said, just like you want a man to be with you for who you are deep down, your depth, not just your surface or to check some box in his life, right?
100%. Yeah. Here's the thing. When a man feels like you are checking boxes when you're on a date with him, a guy starts to feel like he's on a baby daddy audition. He starts to feel like he is a means to an end with you. And then he recognizes in that moment that it's no longer about who he is, it's about what he can provide you, that's kind of hurtful to
Mhm.
men, because a lot of men,
Mhm.
we just want to be seen and appreciated for who we are. And once we feel that, we're going to want to do all the things for you because we know we're loved and appreciated for the truth of who we are. But if we don't feel
Mhm.
seen and appreciated for our actual identity, but simply for, our 401k or whatever it is, it's just kind of hurtful to us, and it's isolating, and it doesn't cultivate that sense of emotional safety. It makes us feel like we're being used.
Yeah,
And just like how women
exactly.
are used for sex and for physical, blah, 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 men are used a lot of times for our role as providers. We can be used. And so we're reticent and resistant to that, just like women are resistant for being used for physical intimacy. So it's kind of like the flip side of that coin. So the more you're just this self-sufficient, I'm happy, I'm living my best life, I'm passionate about this and that, and I'd love to walk with you on your path to live your best life. And we can help each other be the best versions of ourselves individually through our collective love and relationship. That is hot for us because
Mhm.
it's light, it's freeing, it's liberating for us rather than heavy and sort of indoctrinating.
Yes, absolutely. I am loving these secrets, Matt. Are we ready for the next one? Or is there anything else you wanted to say on this one?
That's, I think, everything on that one. And that's just super, super, super important to really be fully responsible for your own happiness. And this next one, this next secret sort of flows into that perfectly. And it's being an unapologetic embodiment of your feminine energy.
Mm.
Flaunt it, own it, don't
Mhm.
hold back on it at all. Remember, what the masculine is looking for you more than anything is freedom. We want freedom from our heaviness. We want freedom to express ourselves emotionally to you. And so, one of the greatest ways you can invite us into that is to model it. Model what it means to be free in the way that you express yourself. Like, one of the things I'm most attracted to in a woman is the fact that she can express and show and flow with her own feelings, with her own emotions, with her own expressions, that she's willing to dance, to be mysterious, to be playful, like bringing that energy to the table. That's something that we do not have in our lives. We're very pattern oriented, and you're the interruption to that. So what's important with that, and this is something we teach in my course that I'm offering to y'all, is what does your feminine energy frequency really look like? Your unique feminine energy frequency. That's something that you want to be connected to and actively expressing, because if that's not something you're doing, you're going to be pushing away men. If you're operating from a predominantly masculine place, you're going to be pushing away men. And a lot of women, I'm sure you can relate to this, Helena, a lot of women, especially once they've experienced trauma at the hands of the masculine, they create a story that men can't be trusted. Therefore, they have to be both the masculine and the feminine in order to
Right.
create safety for themselves and to navigate through life. And that's not sustainable. Am I right?
Right. Or they build walls around themselves and then attract the very thing they're so afraid of. They attract men they can't trust because I'm just making up an example here. There could be lots of different examples. They attract men who are just in it for the conquest. They see this ice
Yes.
queen with walls up and they just want to break down those walls and get to her. But once they kind of have that conquest, they're not interested anymore. And that reinforces that belief. This can happen with all different kinds of situations. That was just the first one that came to mind. Do you see that as well?
I use that literal example so many times of like, you put yourself on an island, you put yourself behind walls, you become hyper vigilant for any sign of a man being a player or a fuckboy or a whatever, because you're like, I'm never going to let anybody take advantage of me again. Right.
Yeah.
And then guess what energy you're putting out? You're putting out a challenge to men. And you're basically saying, I'm not open to men. Therefore, if you want to be with me, you have to scale my walls. You basically have to siege the castle. You know what I'm saying? And so just good guys who are not looking to play games or whatever, they're going to be very intimidated by that energy. And they're not going to be the ones that are going to take you up on that. The guys that are going to take you up on that are the guys that are like, oh, okay, you want to play a game? Let's play a game. That's what I
Challenge
do for a
accepted.
living.
Right. Exactly.
They're
Yeah.
going to be like Barney from How I Met Your Mother, challenge accepted. And they're going to like play that game with you. And tragically, they're going to end up proving you right about your belief that men can't be trusted. And that's why we start my course with belief work,
I was just
because
going to ask
literally
about that. Yeah.
That's the whole thing, is that until you look at your beliefs that you have created around yourself and around relationship and around masculine and feminine roles, once you identify your beliefs, and I take you through a process on how to do that, that's when you can start to look at your patterns, because the patterns that you've been running in relationship with men and everyone else in your life, they all flow back to your childhood. They all flow back to your parents, usually, and the relationships you had when you were young. And once you look at those patterns and you trace them back to the beliefs that are the root cause of them, you can start to shift those beliefs. And I teach y'all how to do that. And then once the beliefs are shifted, the patterns start to shift too. And that's how you're getting to the root cause. You're actually correcting your destructive relationships, your self-sabotaging relationships, or whatever. You're correcting it at the root rather than just trying to treat the symptom.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it can be difficult. All of these can be difficult, especially if you've been in situations with men often over and over. I hear from women all the time where they just say, I will never trust another guy ever again.
Yep.
And then they just end up repeating the cycle. And it's heartbreaking for us to see that. So we're not saying it's easy to turn these patterns around, but it's definitely possible. And I know you do that deep belief work in your course, which is completely free for a limited time. So I would love to talk a little bit about that. But before we do that, do you want to recap these 4 points, or is there anything else you want to say on this topic before we close out?
Absolutely. I'm happy to recap them. And before I do that, the one overarching point I want to make about this is that in order to be irresistible to a high value man, it is important, it is critical that you are embodying your highest value expression. So, what does a high value woman do? She does all these 4 secrets that we've already laid out. She is in full, unapologetic ownership of her uniqueness. She does not shy away from her quirks, her goofy laugh, her cellulite, her whatever it is. She loves herself. You know, a man will believe about you what you choose to believe about yourself. So the more you can embrace and celebrate who you are in a unique way and not pretzel or try to be overly polished to a man, the more he's going to recognize that he can trust you and that you're a high value woman. Second secret is own your boundaries. Boundaries are not bitchy. Boundaries are a blueprint. Boundaries are a roadmap to your happiness. And men who want to get to know you want to know how to make you happy. So express proactively what it is that you like, what it is that you don't like, you know, how you would love to be treated, the things that you're loving that he's doing. Remember, men love to be acknowledged for their actions. So are you letting him know when he does something right? How much you enjoy the fact, how much you appreciate that he paid the bill at the restaurant, that he held the door for you, that he put his hand on your hand when you were driving to wherever. Just little things like that. The more just little acknowledgments and invitations you give to him, those are positive, proactive boundaries reinforcing the things that he's doing right. And if he's doing something wrong, invite him to take a different course of action. That way you two can stay in alignment in a meaningful way. And then secret number 3 is be your own happy. Don't make your happiness his responsibility. Truly recognize that it's not about you completing him or him completing you. It's about the two of you in full ownership of yourselves coming together to elevate each other individually through your relationship. So keep your passions, keep your hobbies. Don't just go into a relationship and just lose yourself in him. And also, if you make your happiness his responsibility, you're going to become a source of heaviness in his life. You're going to become a job. You don't want to be a job. You want to be a permission slip for him to feel free, for him to put down the heaviness of the rest of his life and play with you. Men have a very high play drive. We want to play. We have a little boy inside us. We truly, truly do. And the more you can connect with and dance with that little boy, the more he is going to fall for you, the more he's going to want to be in your life. And then secret number 4 is flaunt your feminine energy. Own your unique feminine frequency. Who are you in your deepest feminine expression? Your most surrendered, playful, mysterious expression. What does that look like for you? Because one of the things that the feminine represents to me is deep, deep presence and connection. So are you allowing yourself to really drop in, be present with him, be vulnerable with him? Are you modeling the type of vulnerability and playfulness and passion that you want to experience from him? The more you can do that, unapologetically owning your feminine energy, the more he's going to be inspired to meet you in his deepest masculine expression. The more feminine you are, the more he's going to meet you in his masculine. And the deeper and the more charged your relationship is going to be. This is what polarity is. Polarity is the attraction that's created when a unapologetically feminine energy meets unapologetically masculine energy. And by you leading with your feminine energy, you're going to inspire him to step deeper in his masculine and meet you in that space. And that's when relationships flow in a seamless, beautiful, magnetic way. That's the essence of magnetism, which is one of the things that I love to teach and talk about in my course.
Yeah, that's what this podcast is all about, my YouTube channel
Yeah.
as well. And so thank you so much for that recap. That was really, really helpful. I loved all these secrets you shared today. I had no idea what they were going to be, but I just think it's so important to talk about some of these things. We could probably do a whole episode on each one of these. I'd love to bring you on my YouTube channel for a live stream sometime soon to talk about whatever you want. I know it's been forever since we've done that. So is there anything else you want to say on this topic? Or are you ready to talk about mastery of connection?
Yeah, I mean, my final word on this, the right man is waiting for you to show up and own your authentic self. If you do these things and you're owning your authentic self and a man doesn't see and appreciate that, that has nothing to do with you. And that just means fundamentally he's not aligned for you. So I want to just let you know, don't take it personally. If a guy doesn't see and appreciate your authentic expression, let go of your attachment to how you're received by any individual man and just continue to check in with yourself on, am I showing up in my highest expression? Am I embodying my unique feminine essence? Am I owning my voice? Am I owning my boundaries? Am I taking responsibility for my own happiness? When you keep your energy within yourself and you're in full ownership of that, you are going to be the perfect woman for the man who is aligned with that energy. And that's your only job. I think it's a lot less overwhelming when you think about it like that.
It's so true. I see it as a good thing. If you are showing up as your most authentic self and a man is not interested, or maybe he came on strong for a little while, but then he backs off or pulls away, I'd see that as a great thing. He's not wasting your time anymore. It's a good thing. That is just making room for the right guy to come in who's going to see you, know who you are, and want to keep getting to know you and pursuing you for that relationship you want. So I think that's phenomenal. Thank you so much for all the amazing information you shared here today, Matt. And let's talk one more time about mastery of connection. Again, that'll be the first link in the description or show notes. What do people need to know about that or the process to apply?
Well, basically, you're applying to be a beta tester, meaning you're going to get free access to a $2,000 live course experience. You're going to get 50 hours of live coaching with me. All you have to do is apply at the link. You'll answer a series of questions just to make sure you're the perfect fit for the program. My team reviews all those. Then you'll get an email letting you know if you're in and what the steps are to make sure that you get access to the program and you get access to the community, because it's going to be a 3-week live coaching journey with an amazing community on Facebook and over 50 hours of live coaching with me and over 15 video lessons. So I do live group coaching office hours twice a week for the first 2 weeks. The first week is going to be focused on belief work and helping you identify your beliefs and patterns flowing from your beliefs around relationship and around every other area of your life. And then I'm going to give you a process to help you shift your beliefs so that you can begin to have different patterns, more aligned patterns for the type of relationships you want to have. So it's really helping you transform your relationships from the inside out. And then the next layer is going to be in week 2, where I'm going to help you identify and shift your attachment style and your personality type. I guarantee you, this is a model that isn't taught anywhere else. My personality type model will help you understand how to communicate and connect with everyone in your life, especially men, in a completely new way, much more effectively. And it's going to help you have better relationships and just navigate the world in a much more powerful way. So that's week 2. That's going to be more inner work. Then week 3 is what I call the inspiration and integration week. It's where I take all this stuff we've learned in the first 2 weeks and I teach you how to apply it to men and how to apply it to relationships. So it's going to be lots of specific coaching on what men want and how to have better relationships and how to master dating and all the different principles, how to apply all this stuff specifically to relationships with men. In addition to having the 2 live office hour sessions with me to get all your coaching questions answered, I'm going to be doing 2 live workshops a day for a full week. So you're going to get over 14 live workshops with me around all these different aspects of how to connect with and have better relationships with men. I'm going to be answering your questions live, bringing people on for live coaching. Every live session you have with me throughout this whole process over the course of these 3 weeks, I'm going to be answering your questions live on Zoom with my coaching team. Plus, I'm going to be bringing on people and doing live coaching with them. So I guarantee you it's going to be, no matter what you've done in this space, in this work, it's going to be the highest value live coaching experience you've ever had, truly. And it's absolutely free. And you're also going to get a wonderful Facebook community where you're going to be able to connect with other women who are doing this work. I'm going to have a whole coaching team answering your questions and supporting you in the community as well. So there's going to be many layers of support to help you really do this deep work and transform your relationships with men and everyone else in your life. I guarantee you, if you show up for these 3 weeks, you will have made massive progress in your relationships by the end, because I've seen it happen with over 100,000 women, and it'll happen with you too.
Right. And it's not just free to apply. The entire 3-week
The
course
entire thing
is
is free.
100% free. And like I've been saying for the last 5 years, I've never changed my stance on this. If you're going to apply or join one free course or offer that I talk about here on my podcast or YouTube channel, ever, definitely join this one, because you will get so much value. Like I said, Matt is just the king of over delivering, and you will make some massive shifts in your love life and actually probably every area of your life, right?
100%. It really is transformational. It is not just about relationships with men, because the thing is, the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. So as we start to do this belief work and we start to change our patterns and habits in relationship with men, it changes our habits and patterns in relationship with everyone else. And it changes our energy. And as our energy changes and our beliefs about who we are change, our reality changes. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
I
I've
agree.
had women, I've obviously had them attract amazing partners, get married, have kids. I've seen all of those sort of beautiful results. I've also seen women find their dream job, start their own business, leave abusive relationships, get into amazing shape. Once you start doing inner work in a really meaningful way, it just tends to have a dovetail effect, a butterfly effect into every area of your life. So if you're just looking to live life at a higher level and have better relationships in some capacity, this is a great opportunity for you to do that work with an experienced coach and team in a really safe, loving community. That's one of the core values of this work and the way that I do it.
I'm so excited to be able to offer this to my community again. Like I said, it's been years since you've done this. And so I was thrilled to hear from you this week. I would love to bring you back on my channel for a live stream soon too, or maybe another podcast episode. So make sure to
Absolutely.
like the video and subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification so you don't miss updates. And probably sometime within the next couple of weeks, we can do that. Right, Matt?
100%. Let's get on and party. I love jamming with you.
Okay, fantastic. And make sure you're following my podcast. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple or anywhere else, just click the follow button on my podcast homepage so you don't miss any new episodes. I have new episodes coming out every week. Thank you so much again, Matt. This was phenomenal. I hope we can do another episode soon.
Thanks so much for having me, Helena. This is super fun. And to everyone watching, it's been so much fun. And I look forward to seeing you in Mastery Connection. We're going to have a blast.